Okay, so today we are going to talk about unit rates, and it's going to involve some fractions. So I know some of you don't like fractions, but you get to use your calculator, so it shouldn't be so bad. Okay, so first let's talk about rates. So you see rates every day, right? Like for example, 120 miles for 2 hours, $24 every 3 hours, 80 miles every 4 gallons. These are rates, and rates have two different units, right? Two different units, right? So we have miles and hours, we have dollars and hours, and we have miles and gallons. Okay, so unit rates are rates except for they have a 1 in the denominator, right? Denominator is 1, right? So we have 60 miles every 1 hour, $8 every 1 hour, or 20 miles per gallon, right? You've seen that before, right? Like 60 miles per hour, very common. Just a refresher if you forgot, right? In a fraction, we have a numerator and a denominator, right? So this is saying the denominator is going to be 1. Okay, so let's go back. Who wins the race? Let's say that we have Pac-Man and Ghost, and Pac-Man is going 8 feet in 6 seconds, and Inky, the ghost, is going 20 feet in 8 seconds. So we want to know who's going faster, who wins the race, right? So if we look at the rate, we're going to do a fraction. So we're going to do 18 feet over 6 seconds. And over here for Inky, we're going to do 20 feet in 8 seconds. Right? And so we want to be able to reduce this so that there's a 1 on the bottom. So this one's a little easy because 18 is divisible by 6, right? So 18 divided by 6 is 3. So we get 3 feet every 1 second. Or we can write it as 3 feet per second. This one, we have 20 feet in 8 seconds. So this one, 20 isn't exactly divisible by 8, but we can reduce it to make it easier. So, right, you're going to have to reduce your fractions. Let me refocus this. So let's see, they're both divisible by 4. So we could do 5 feet divided by 2 seconds. And then I like to use decimals, so we can use a decimal for this. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5 feet per second. Right, and if you can't remember how to do that, you could just use your calculator. Normally I'd recommend using the calculator, like a real calculator, but I don't have one with me right now. So you could just do 5 divided by 2, 2.5, right? Or even if you wanted to go back to the 20, you could do 20 divided by 8, and we get 2.5 feet per second. Okay, so we know that Pac-Man is going 3 feet per second, and we know that Inky is going 2.5 feet per second. So Pac-Man is going to win the race because he is going faster every second, right? So that's the great thing about unit rates, is it allows us to compare things. Okay, so now we're going to write the following as a unit rate. So the cool thing about unit rates is that you can change the unit. So if we look here, we have 2 units. We have ghosts and power pills. So we can have the ghosts on top. Let me use a different marker. We can either have the ghosts on top or we can have the power pills on top. So let's do 8 ghosts over 2 power pills. Or we could have 2 power pills over 8 ghosts. And then if we reduce this, we get 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we get 4 ghosts per power pill. Or we get 2 divided by 8. You can reduce that to 1 over 4. And that decimal is 0.25. Or you can use a calculator if you don't remember. Right? 2 divided by 8, 0.25. So 0.25 power pills per ghost. Right? So this is saying 4 ghosts per power pill. So every power pill, I'm going to eat 4 ghosts. And this is saying 0.25 power pills per ghost. So it takes 1/4 of a power pill to eat that ghost. So both of these are going to be correct answers. But the one important thing is that you need to have the units. You can't just give me 4 and you can't just give me 0.25. You need to be very specific with the units. And you need to remember that the one on the bottom is the per, right? All right, so if you're watching this in a video, I'd like you to pause the video and try and do this one. Try and come up with the 2 ones. Okay, so we have our 2 units again. We have dollars and we have hours. So the first one, let's put the dollars on top. And then the second one, let's put the dollars on the bottom. Okay, so this one I'm going to want to use my calculator because these aren't pretty fractions. So we're going to have 8 divided by 3. So we have 2.67. I rounded that, right? Because the digit right here rounds this to 7 per hour. Or 3 divided by 8, 0.375 hours per dollar. Right? So let's spend $2.67 per hour at the arcade. Or, excuse me, let's spend 0.375 hours every dollar that she spends. So, like I said, both of these are correct. That's the cool thing about unit rates is the unit rate could be either of the units. Okay, we are almost done with our notes. Okay, so even though there's 2 answers, usually one answer is easier to understand, or like the brain likes to read more. So we're going to do both of them and then we're going to see which one we like better. Okay, so we can either do miles per hour or we could do hours per mile. So remember, the per hour means the hours goes on the bottom. So this one we have 90 miles every 2 hours or 2 hours every 90 miles. So this one, hopefully you can see 90 divided by 2 is 45. And then this one, I'm going to use my calculator. 2 divided by 90 is 0.02 hours per mile. Okay, so if I'm driving, which one of these looks better, right? 45 miles per hour or 0.022 hours per mile. So yeah, most people like 45 miles per hour, right? That's something you see a lot as a speed limit. Okay, job. Make $12 every hour. So this one has the hours on top, and this one has the dollars on top. So this one, they already did it. Dollars every hour, that's $12 per hour. All right, I guess I don't need the dollar sign because it says dollar right there. And then this one, I need the hour. So the 1 hour over the $12. So I'll use my calculator again. 1 divided by 12, 0.083 hours per dollar. So typically when you're thinking about a job, it makes more sense to think about it in dollars per hour. And then finally, right, so let's see. This one is preferred. This one is preferred. And these aren't wrong. These are just like preferred, you know? Okay, 2 pound Kit Kat is $12. So we have 2 pounds per $12, or we have $12 per 2 pound. Whoops, 2 lid. Okay, so this one has the dollars on the bottom. So 2 divided by 12, 0.167, and this one has, sorry, let me make that look more like a 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so $6 per pound. I keep drawing the dollar sign, but I don't need it. Okay, so $6 per pound, or 0.167 pounds per dollar. This one seems nicer. So something that you might have noticed is that typically you like the whole numbers as a unit rate. And then also there's another rule of thumb that doesn't always happen, but it's pretty common, right? We typically like money on top. And we typically like time on bottom. Right, so we typically like, you know, $10 per hour or $20,000 per year, right? And then on the bottom, we like the time. So like the same thing, right? Like $10 per hour, right? That's time on the bottom. Or we like to think, you know, 60 miles per minute, right? So this doesn't always happen, but if you're ever not sure, typically people like money on top and time on bottom. But like I said, all of these answers would have been correct. All right, so you have some practice homeworks and the answers will be posted. And I want you to practice your unit rates and try to think of it in like the real world. If you're ever getting stuck, you know, like hopefully some of these examples you can think of and they sound a little familiar.